You're welcome to the news and are with me, Sabena Izuku. A suicide bomber blew himself up on Friday night in a highly populated Arawa area of Gombe State, killing more than 15 people. CoreTV News is gathered that the bomber struck few minutes before 8 p.m. in the area described as a small market where people usually gather or pass en route to their houses. There are also fears on the part of the people of Gombe State on the fate of the bombers in the state. It is the fourth time in 16 days that the northeastern state will be suicide bombed. On the New Year's Eve, 301 Mami Market, situated inside the only military barracks in the capital city, was bombed. On the first day of the year, a suicide bomber detonated a bomb at the evangelical church Winning All in Tunduwadan during New Year's Day service, killing an unspecified number of people. On the January 13th, a bomb exploded beside a mosque in Tashomasha near Gombe State University, killing one person and injuring a few more. Earlier in December, those soldiers at the Bajuga area of the town killed a suicide bomber who failed in his attempt to detonate a bomb at a military checkpoint and then made to escape. The United Nations on Friday says hundreds of refugees who fled deadly Boko Haram attacks earlier this month had been sent back from Niger to northeastern Nigeria, voicing concern the development might not be voluntary. The UN Refugee Agency said it remained unclear whether the refugees were being forced to remain home despite dangerous conditions.
We're very concerned about anybody going back, any refugees going back to this area of Nigeria because of the situation there. Obviously, we have little information of what is happening inside, but from all the media reports, we know that there's a lot of violence and attacks happening, and that's why it's very important that nobody is forced to go back. According to information received by UNHCR, the refugees were transported in 9 buses to Maiduguri, the capital of Borno State in Nigeria. Another 11 buses are currently parked in the town of Gagamari in Niger's Diffa region, waiting to take more refugees back to Nigeria. Given the volatile security situation in Borno State and the recent attacks by Boko Haram insurgents, UNHCR is concerned about the nature of these returns and has asked the authorities to stop this operation until there are proper safeguards and a legal framework between Nigeria, Niger, and UNHCR.
The federal government says it is evolving a holistic string approach to curb insurgency. At a media briefing on countering violent extremism organized by the Office of the National Security Advisor in collaboration with the European Union, government officials say they are exploring a new approach alongside legislation to overcome the challenge. They explain that the prisons will be used as an instrument of change rather than punishment.
The mandate is that you must do certain programs to de-radicalize them. And the certain programs include a whole gamut of things, giving them psychological trainings, educational, vocational. The religious imams must sit with them, and they must sit with them in a good and comfortable place in line with what the world has said is international best practice. We don't want to make ours different. So for these level of programs to take place, you've got to have the right facility. But like I say, it's in the yard. Those same facilities are going to be used for all inmates. And it forms a platform of training the trainers for our people. While government is trying to also improve other infrastructure, we're having platforms that we have good environment offered, good classrooms, every classroom, right sports facilities. Because seeing is believing. And like the EU man said, I keep saying, you want to win the hearts and minds of the people, because insurgency is not easy.
The All Progressive Congress has congratulated President Goodluck Jonathan for visiting Maiduguri, Borno State capital, to meet troops battling the Boko Haram insurgency. It now wants him to make similar trips to Chibok, Buniyadi, Patiskum, and other places where insurgents had carried out their atrocities. The party said in a statement issued by a spokesman, La Mohammed, that it is only by doing so that the president can refuse suggestions that his visit to Maiduguri was meant to pave way for his impending campaign in northern Nigeria. APC also challenged Jonathan to address the issue of low morale of the troops and inadequate weaponry. The APC Presidential Campaign Organization says Jonathan administration owes Nigerians an explanation on what it called the phantom ceasefire with Boko Haram. It said in a statement by spokesman Gabar Shehu that democratic government should be open and accountable to the people rather than maintain what it terms a curious silence. The party recalled that on the 17th of October 2014, the Chief of Defense Staff Alex Badi told an expectant nation that a ceasefire deal that also include the immediate release of the kidnapped Chibok girls has been reached. Within 24 hours, the leader of the insurgents, Abubakar Shekau, released a video message that brushed off any deal with the government and denied Galandi Amadu, the so-called Boko Haram representative of the ceasefire talks. IPC wondered why Jonathan administration has not deemed it fit to offer the citizens an explanation on the issue of public importance. The French news agency AFP reports that dozens of Chadian tanks are headed towards Cameroon to help fight Boko Haram insurgents. The agency said the tanks left in Damamena on Friday after Chad's parliament voted to send armed forces to Cameroon and Nigeria to fight against the Islamists. The parliament had earlier in the day voted 150-0 to send an unspecified number of armed forces and security forces to assist the Cameroonian and Nigerian soldiers in the war against insurgency. The Plateau State Police Command has begun a mob operation of illegal weapons in the state. This follows a directive of the Inspector General of Police, Solomon Abba, that all persons in possession of illegal arms in the country should surrender them to appropriate quarters. The Commissioner of Police in Plateau, Nasiru Oki, issued a stern warning to all residents in the state to go to the nearest police station and give up their arms and their possessions. The unrest that have gripped the state in the last 12 years is widely believed to have fueled the proliferation of arms across the country. Well, Oki said that in the view of forthcoming general elections, it has become imperative that arms cannot be left in the hands of thugs in the state. The report.
The ongoing silent killings in Plateau State have been blamed on the fallout of arms in the hands of bandits and thugs. In order to curb the proliferation of arms in the state and ensure safety of lives and property, the Police Commissioner, Nasri Oke, has read the Riot Act to all residents keeping dangerous weapons to willingly surrender them before they are apprehended and made to face the wrath of the law.
That we should mop up all arms that are in illegal hands. He categorically gave the instructions that we should mop up arms in wrong hands, and especially arms that are in the hands of thugs. Because it's a different thing. Some people carry arms in their houses. Some thugs carry it about. Since electionary is coming, election is coming. So thugs too, who have it in their possession, we are appealing to them to equally surrender. If they refuse to surrender, we will get them. We will pursue them. We will go to them. Take the battle to their doorsteps.
The police boss said his men have laid down strategies to retrieve the illegal weapons from members of the public, keeping them. He added that those who fail to heed to his appeal will be dealt with in accordance to the law, no matter how highly placed.
And if after some time they refuse, we may be tempted to use force to get all those arms from them. It's a matter of cordoning up, searching place seriously, and bringing those arms out. And at that stage, anybody found with arms will definitely be charged to court and prosecuted accordingly.
Oki said the directive is from the highest command of the force and will be religiously followed.
But so far, we are appealing that those who have arms in their possession should surrender them voluntarily.
The Plateau State Commissioner of Police said nothing will be taken for granted, especially as tension mounts ahead of the 2015 elections.
President Goodluck Jonathan Friday took his campaign ahead of next month's presidential election to Ebonyi State. The president, who was joined by the top echelon of the PDP, also had his wife Patience Jonathan on the campaign train. She spoke in the local dialect of the people as she canvassed for support for her husband ahead the polls. Shortly before her, top party officials, among them the PDP chairman Adamu Muazu and other former governor of Ebonyi State, Sam Ugu, praised the qualities inherent in the president as his achievement. And Jonathan, on mounting the podium, outlines the potentials of the state and promised to raise its present level of development further if returned to office as president. Jonathan vows that Nigeria, through Ebonyi State, will in the next 4 years stop importing rice and create more jobs through mechanized farming. He did not, as usual, forget to mention women and youths, who he said will benefit more from his administration as a great deal. Now, the president also used the occasion to plead with aggrieved party members to remain in the PDP irrespective of the crisis that emanated from the various primaries conducted in the state. The PDP presidential campaign later moved from Ebonyi to Umuahia in Abia State, where the president is currently canvassing support ahead the election. Away from that, the APC presidential campaign team also moved its train to Kogi and Benue State on Friday. In Kogi State, a mammoth crowd greeted the arrival of the team as the party presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari made his way to the podium amidst other APC chieftains. In what appears a tired voice, Buhari went straight into business of the day, with the issues of security, employment and corruption topping his agenda.
The main theme is security, employment, and corruption. APC is determined to secure and efficiently manage Nigeria. But when over 60% of the youth are unemployed, priority should be given to employment. Ajakuta will be revived. It will give us the employment, it will train our people, and it will produce the goods and services. We are going to take to farming to make sure that people are given inputs in terms of fertilizer and other inputs in agriculture. For small-scale industries, we are going to empower the financial houses to give loans and help small-scale industries so that people can provide jobs. I hope you have got your PVCs. Yes. And on the election day, you will come out en masse as you have come out today and vote. And make sure your vote count.
His running mate Yemi Osinbajo, while canvassing for support from the people, admonished them to come out en masse and vote for Buhari come February 14th.
February 14th, 2015 is a day of decision. It's a day of decision. This country will change on February 14th, 2015 by the grace of God. On that day, we will all go to the polling booth with our PVCs, and after voting you will wait there, make sure that the votes are counted. No rigging, no rigging. We are not going to allow any rigging that day. We will wait there and make sure that our votes are counted for General Muhammadu Buhari.
In a related development, the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, has promised to tackle corruption, unemployment and insecurity if voted into power. Buhari made the promise at the IBB Square, Makurdi, while launching his campaign. According to Buhari, his administration will provide an enabling environment for the establishment of agro-industry in the state to create jobs for the teeming youths. There will be accountability and transparency, and called on supporters to come out en masse to vote for him next month. In the same vein, former Benue State Governor Senator George Akume encouraged eligible voters to collect their voters' card to enable them be part of the march towards a positive change. We'll take a short break, and when we return, there'll be more stories for you. Do stay with us.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Welcome back to the news. For more information, you can reach us on our social media platform, and that's on facebook.com/CoreTV News and on Twitter @CoreTV News NG. For more updates and other programs, you can join us on our youtube.com/CoreTV. Just leave a space and the news. The Independent National Electoral Commission has released a list of 88 observer groups approved for the 2015 general elections. INEC revealed this in a statement posted on its website. It noted that the approved groups complied with the requirements and guidelines of the accreditation of observers. The list showed that 16 of the observers are international bodies, while 72 are local groups. The international team are mainly those of diplomatic mission and foreign non-governmental organizations, including the International Republican Institute and National Democratic Institute. Prominent among the accredited domestic groups are the Nigerian Bar Association, the Transition Monitoring Group, Police Service Commission, and Center for Democracy and Development. INEC expected the accredited groups to obtain and complete the necessary paperwork for their members next week. Still on, the Independent National Election Commission has slated a meeting for Tuesday next week on modalities for internally displaced persons in the Northeast to vote in the federal elections. INEC said in its daily bulletin on Friday that representatives of Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa states are expected at the meeting holding in Abuja. The Commission has also invited the National Emergency Management Agency as well as past and present resident election commissioners of the 3 states to the stakeholders meeting. Students of the University of Benin have been given a 48-hour deadline to Edo State Governor Adams Oshomole to immediately reconstruct the institution's staff quarters demolished 2 weeks ago. The students said failure to carry out the action will lead to civil disobedience across the Benin metropolis. President of the Student Union Government, Imafidon Ihide, who disclosed this at a news briefing at the June 12 building of the Ubowo campus of Uniben, said warning starts from Friday, 16th of January 2015.
Beginning from today, 16th January 2015, we are by this forum giving the state governor a 48-hour notice to act accordingly and equally apologizes for his action in ordering and personally supervising the demolition of the university's buildings. For the avoidance of doubt, we are also demanded that one Tony Kabaka be arrested and persecuted for mobilizing and intimidating members of the University of Benin staff. We further stated that the building in question be immediately reconstructed to continue accommodating affected staff, pending determination of the case.
He added that all offices, fuel stations, markets, schools, Banks and hospitals will be shut as a result of civil disobedience if the state government refuses to abide by the warning.
Blatant refusal of the government of Edo State to the above needful, we are constrained to inform that we shall call for civil disobedience in the state in which all officers, fuel stations, markets, schools, banks, hospitals, etc. will be closed. This is necessary to forestall untold consequences. We wish to express our profound appreciation to the ASU, NASU, SANU, NATS, the NANS, and the general public for their show of solidarity and support in this noble struggle to restore sanity in our state.
Now let's take another break, and when we return this time, it will be outside Nigeria. Just stay with us.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
Welcome back to the news. And outside Nigeria, a suspected jihadist group recently targeted in major anti-terror raids had been planning to kill policemen in the streets and at police stations, according to Belgian prosecutors. They said the planned attacks were imminent, adding that 2 suspects shot dead in rivers during the raid were still being identified. Searches were also carried out overnight in the Brussels area. 13 suspects had been arrested, while 2 were arrested in France. Guns and ammunition and explosives, as well as police uniforms and a large amount of money, were seized during the raid. Eric van der Spend, another spokesman, added that the investigation had shown that suspects had intentions to kill several policemen in the streets and at police stations. And in Paris, prosecutors say police arrested a dozen people overnight suspected of helping the Islamic militant gunmen in last week's killing in Paris as U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry arrived for talks. The arrests made in the region south of Paris, including Montreux, where a young police woman was killed in the attacks, were in connection with the suspected logistical support for the shootings. 17 victims and the 3 attackers died in 3 days of violence that began on the 7th of January with an attack on the offices of satirical weekly Charlie Hebdo. Kerry arrived late on Thursday. He met with French Foreign Minister Laurent Fabius early on Friday before meeting with President François Hollande. Senior U.S. representatives were absent from the commemoration march held in Paris on Sunday that was attended by dozens of world leaders. And that's it on the news on hour. Do join us at the top of the hour for more updates. I am Savannah Izuku, and thank you very much indeed.